Here we are at Fletcher Insulation in Dandenong South, Melbourne, Victoria. Now this site's a really interesting one. 578 kilowatts, run by 4 by 110 kVA sun-grow inverters. We've got Clenergy racking and also some Sunlock racking that has been used as a de facto cable tray. On the subject of the cable tray, we're running 150mm and 300mm. You may be able to see that some of the rail is a little bit short in sections, and that is due to its proximity to the actual walkway that Greenwood had to put down as a safety precaution. Now, this site is an incredibly heavy user of electricity. It's an HV site, number one, and there's 3 transformers.
Being a HV site, we had to consider how we were going to connect in our system. There's some voltage transformers in the high voltage room that we needed to get a voltage reference from. That all had to tie in with large-scale shutdowns of the plant where the entire plant was shut down. That only happens once a year. So planning was really important in working with a high voltage customer.
Now, I mentioned about the inverters. Those 410 kVA inverters are serviced by the ever-present GridSafe that Greenwood manufacture ourselves, connected to a main switchboard. Now this site actually uses AC isolators due to the proximity and the spaces and the distances involved from each other.
In this particular installation, space was at a premium. We weren't offered a lot of space to build the inverter station, and we had to think differently and very carefully consider our cable paths, especially with the addition of more isolators in that area. A purpose-built wall was put in to incorporate whatever usable space we could get.
Now, interestingly enough, for a commercial building, this roof is actually corrugated and the rail is running parallel to the corrugations. In other words, it's following the corrugated ribs all the way down to the gutter.
The rails running up the roof certainly makes it a fairly straightforward way to put the racking system down. So as far as ease of installation, it's pretty quick to put in the racking system. I think you probably do this whole size roof in 6, you might do it in 4 days.
Now behind me on the left, you can see some cable tray that is spilling over the gutter, and that is going down to the actual control room where all the gear is. Now to my right behind me, on top of this, you'll see some cable tray that actually mounts this and goes over, and that's to collect the cable, the DC cable on this side, and bring it over to this part of the roof, and eventually ending up at one of the 410 kVA sun-grow inverters. The panels we're using are 545 watt JA, so they're a considerable panel.
They're heavy and generally requiring a 2-person lift. We're looking at about 27 kilos. You certainly know it if the wind's blowing, so we just stay out of windy conditions. You have to work to the conditions a little bit more with a larger panel.
The mounting feet are simply L brackets with an EPDM that allows a separation between the bottom of the actual foot and the roof material, which is best practices. No commercial roof is totally free of obstructions. And on this particular site, you're looking at ventilation, you're looking at HVAC, you're looking at vents, you're looking at all sorts of things. So when you design a system for a commercial roof, you must take that into consideration.
An engineering drawing looks good on paper, but if you have to put it on a roof, there's obstacles, there's screw lines you might need to consider, there's clamp zones and whatnot that you need to consider with as far as racking systems. So there's all sorts of variables that come into it to be able to bring that design to life. Certainly helps to have a comprehensive site inspection that does assist in negating those errors with regards to planning and construction, but you're not going to pick everything up. You also may have moving parts as far as changes of decision from various stakeholders that have an impact on the project.
If you want to learn more about commercial solar or anything renewable, check out Greenwood Academy.